it's such a pleasure to have her here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for having me in this beautiful space.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
I'd love to know a bit more about obviously your background. And I know that I think for many people, there might be an event in your life that is often a catalyst for a journey of transformation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we've probably both had that that moment in life.
The awakening.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
And I believe yours was an accident.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in Nairobi in Kenya, and I left when I was young and I went to the States. And I landed, I know it's going to sound really wild, but in Oklahoma for a while. That's one thing you didn't know, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So while I was there, I had a terrible car accident in my teens. And I was literally caught upside down in my car while it was burning. And I thought, all right, this is it. And then I woke up in the hospital and I had burns everywhere. And long story short, they told me I wasn't going to walk properly again. I'm never going to be able to have children, all the things that they program you to believe so that you can't actually heal, you know? And so I was subscribed and prescribed to the system for so long that I was on every type of medication.
I love that in America.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, you know, what else? Pills. And then, children. And that's the end of your life. Like, how do you say that to somebody? Like, how do you actually say, like, you're never going to have children? Like, are you God? It's wild. So I became very depressed. I had depression. I had anxiety. I had fear. I had loneliness. I couldn't do all the things that I was supposed to do as a kid. And so I became very angry and bitter. And then one day I said, you know what? This is actually not my environment and not my style. And I always say, don't belong where you don't belong. So I left and I went to California. And that's actually the longest place I've ever lived. And so I went to fashion school and I still try to do what was my biggest passion, but my biggest passion is dancing and singing. And I couldn't do any of that really properly with all this pain. And so one day I met my husband at a music festival called Coachella circa 2010 when it was really cool. There was only one weekend. And he changed my life forever because he taught me something that I had never known existed, because I came from a world of very different, mindset. Meditation wasn't a thing in our culture and religion. I grew up Muslim. It was kind of looked down upon almost as like witchcraft and like, voodoo and whatever. So we kind of really didn't dive deeply into that. And we're not also taught like emotional awareness and all of these things. We're taught, to suppress our voices and all the stuff that, we're trying to unprogram right now.
I think also some people have, my husband's similar story where we started doing music festivals and he lives in the now.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was sort of trapped in the past and fearful of the future. And
same story. See, we're twin flames, actually. We have all the same stories.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, and I remember you talked a bit about your living in your pain body.
Yeah.
And,
it's your identity.
Most of us have been through some form of trauma.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I grew up in a sort of, I always call it a bit of a toxic, overachievement oriented upper, East Coast American upbringing where, perfectionism, fat phobia, like punishing my body and just pushing it to the limit.
Yeah.
I was always running on shin splints. I never had periods, whatever. And then I had a painful divorce and had to go through, I also had a car accident, but had to go through my own healing and my own sort of journey of transformation. And that was kind of at the time in my life, that was my catalyst as well.
Yeah.
And then I turned and it led me to where I am now.
Yeah.
I had to go
you
through
have
some
to
healing.
Absolutely.
Which is what
you have to have your aha moment, and you have to also trust the process and trust in something else to be able to see what it's like on the other side of your pain body, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he introduced me to a technique called emotional freedom technique, which is like basic. And And it was just through releasing all of the pain that I had against myself. Like I was so mad at my body for not being able to regenerate. I was so mad at the world because I had lost everything. I was just like this bitter, like, Hollywood kid running around just getting and doing all the things you're
And
not
then you have self-destructive qualities.
complete
Drink
self
too much.
all of it. I was that, and I was there, and I know how bad it is to be in the place of depression and anxiety with no help, real help. And so he was like, enough, let me just show you this. And I kid you not, within 5 minutes, I was doing a downward dog, FaceTiming my parents, like, I can touch my toes. And they were like, what? Because everybody had this, notion that I was never going to be okay. And that was just going to be my life. And so I became obsessed with going around the world and just learning different modalities to finally, after almost 12 years now, making a very beautiful modality called light force healing. And it's been the most beautiful journey. And it's like, once you see it, you can't unsee, right? And so I knew I had to make a drastic change because like that was my mission, vision, and purpose. Now I knew what I was going to do. And so when you can actually, I was so obsessed. I wanted to show everybody that it's possible.
Yes.
And so I started super young. So I was really fortunate because back then there wasn't the big, wellness movement. So I got a lot of time to really perfect the modality.
Yeah.
And so, that is how I came about.
You want to share your gift
with everyone.
World.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
I feel like it's true. If you move in an authentic way, and you sometimes you find your purpose and you find your direction. And like for me, when it was I remember going to my first biohacking retreat.
Yeah.
I was like, I've been doing this for years because I was trying to heal myself.
Yeah.
And so I was researching and reading copious books and articles, whatever I could, to try and nurture and nourish my body because I had such bad fertility at the time, and I was desperate to have children. Yeah. And so I knew that I had to change everything. Yeah. My mindset, my workouts, my eating plan, everything had to change. And so I had to do a lot of research. And then once I realized, oh, wait a second, I've been doing this for years and I've healed myself. Now I want to help other women with their health span and lifespan. But it's so tell me a bit more about mindset, because I know you're a big believer, and I am too, because so many people said, forget it. You have less than 1% chance of having a baby. Go home. And I have so many friends who actually regret listening to doctors because the doctor said, you don't have enough eggs. Go home. And now they've
and you have how many children? 5?
No, 5, yes. And they don't have any.
Yeah.
Because they listen, and I just refused to listen.
Yeah.
I knew in my heart of hearts that I was going to make this happen. And so I just carried on, even though you have setbacks, whether it's miscarriages or multiple IVFs and all of that stuff. I've been through so much, but I wouldn't stop. So I know that, what's up here can translate.
100 million %. So mindset and I think intention go hand in hand. And when you really believe in something and you really put your effort towards that, it will happen if it's supposed to, right? But like with anything else, like with water, you have the ability to change the molecular structure of water just by giving it an intention.
I read that book.
Right? Yeah, he's the best, right?
That's
Yamamoto.
Yes,
yeah. So if you can change the energy of water, you can change the energy of your entire being. And we are all water, And so I think when you have the proper mindset and you have courage to back it up, I always say, when the prayer meets the action, that's when the miracle happens, right? You have to go in there and really do the work, and you can't find solutions from a wounded state. You definitely can in a way, but not if you're willing to stay in the wounded state. So you have to tell your body, okay, I'm ready. Affirmations, like I'm ready to heal, and those send out signals, right? And so and then your body starts to say, okay, oh, you want to recorrect yourself? I thought you were just in your pain body saying, I am sick. I am this. I am that. So I was just going to stay here with that message. But you want to heal? All right, well, let's do it.
That's why, yes, self-affirmations are so powerful.
Yeah.
You have to say, that you're proud of your body.
Yes, all the time. It is so important to give so much love and gratitude to yourself every single day, no matter what. Always have so much appreciation, even if it was a really small day in your head. But any step in the right direction is absolutely beautiful in a step,
Yes.
And it's really important. I say, look in the mirror and speak to yourself. Sit down and have ceremony with yourself. And as much as you pray for other things, pray for yourself. Like sit and praise yourself.
I think that takes a lot of time, because a lot of people look for other people to give them the approval.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the
we give our power
confidence,
away, just like we do to the doctors.
And I was that way too, a bit of a people pleaser, and now I realize, the power of the self-affirmations and your mindset, and then that helps you feel less vulnerable.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
the criticism or other comments of others. Because as I remember at one point you were speaking about, kind of, I think of sometimes like a computer. You have these programs.
Yeah.
That you were taught as a child,
Absolutely.
or I'm not worthy, or my ex said you can take her, I don't want her anymore.
Yeah.
And those things play in your head.
Of
play in your
course.
head.
Systematically. Of course. We have to remove all of that.
You have to remove that, cleanse yourself.
Of course.
And then once you do that, you can move forward and find your purpose.
Of course. Because
your mojo.
Yeah, I always say, the prerequisite to the full embodiment of your purpose is to heal first, because otherwise you're going to be operating wounded. And that's what most people are actually doing. They're operating wounded. You have coaches and teachers and healers who are trying to be something else for someone else when they haven't taken care of their core root problems, right? And so you have to systematically remove every trauma, everything that's ever happened to you, in order for your body, your mind, and your spirit to recorrect itself. It's science, right?
And I think, as coming from a biohacking perspective, it's all intertwined.
Yeah.
And so you can give advice in terms of the self-care. You have obviously breathing techniques, you have sound healing, you have obviously the breath work, you have yoga, meditation. There's so many different forms. And then, or you can have, tapping or jumping, or all forms of stress release.
Of course.
But you also have to deal with the mental and the spiritual.
It's spiritual hygiene is like, all of that other stuff. I always say you can drink all the green juice and go to the gym all you want, but if your mind and your spirit are not aligned, it's not going to do much for you. You'll always come back to the same results, right?
Yes.
So if you really want true results, you have to heal first. You have to go back, and that's the hardest part, right? To go back and uncover and unshovel all the trauma. But when you can look at it, it's like when you cut your hand, you wouldn't go about your whole day bleeding all over the place. You would tend to that wound. You have to do the same thing with your spiritual emotions.
Yeah.
And everything that's going on with you physically has to do with something that you haven't dealt with emotionally.
Yes,
right?
I agree. And that's why the body-mind connection is so powerful.
Yeah.
And so when you go, sometimes I think a lot of biohackers just look at it as like, okay, I've got to take these supplements, and I'm wearing my Whoop now. I'm wearing my Whoop and my Aura Ring. And, you can look at it from sort of an analytical perspective.
Yeah.
And, but when you actually go if you speak to some of the pioneers, they try and bring in those ancient practices, those ancient rituals.
Absolutely.
To bring in the connection, to
ancient
bring in
wisdom,
the spirituality.
100 million%.
And then it's going to make your experience so much more profound.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
then your body's going to react so much more to the other elements. You have to approach it from a holistic perspective.
Absolutely.
And not just look at, I beat my reps per minute, or my,
Always comes from the earth, right? Everything. And, true medicine is from the ground. There is a time and place for Western medicine. I'm not saying that there's not.
Yeah.
Okay. But we've given up our power to it. And so it has taken over and become a system that is killing our planet, And
I think people don't realize what resources they have at their fingertips.
Yeah.
And so that's why I want to help empower women and educate women to learn all these biohacking practices or learn from wellness experts. And because often women are excluded from scientific studies, and it's a male dominated practice as well, because it's much easier. Women are complicated.
Yeah.
We have more immune issues. We have periods. We have, you know what I mean?
Of course.
So you can't do the one size fits all thing. So I think women don't have, are often neglected. And so now there's,
especially in different parts of the world, for sure.
And now there's this whole wellness revolution, which is amazing. So I think women are now more aware
I'm
how
so
they can heal themselves.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for you, because you're a light in this country. It's very rare, you know, even in your surroundings, to have people like you who are willing to help and share and do all of that. You know, you're one of the only, actually, around here, and it's really beautiful. I mean, we met at my wellness event, but like, it's so beautiful to see that you guys are coming together in community, because community is new currency, and if you haven't been through it, how are you going to help somebody else? So I love that. You know, and it's true, women don't get enough opportunity to access much more, but when you do, you know, it never stops. It's like the fountain that keeps on giving, right? There's so much we can do.
And we can change the healthcare system. We can raise awareness. We can, you know, help empower women around the world, and help, you know, some, you know, whether it's getting off medication or it's, you know, all this stuff affects not just your health span, but your lifespan as well.
Absolutely.
They're intertwined. And so for me to learn all this by biohacking my fertility and having kids so late in life, I sort of biohacked my longevity.
Yeah.
You know, because it's all, you know,
part of it.
Yeah.
100%.
And
it's so important to keep up with the, you know, we were talking about that with music earlier, but same thing with the health and biohacking. It's like ever evolving, and there's always something new and amazing. So it's really almost exciting when you find this new hobby of healing, because you can always try so many different beautiful modalities and things, you know. And I think that there's nothing more powerful and more beautiful than a woman that is saying yes to healing and to herself, you know.
Yes, completely.
And that's why you're where you're at, because you chose to, you know, awaken, and you chose to go on that path, and that's when you can really help other people
and to share it
but you can only share when you've gone through it and done it, and then you have the great awakening, right?
Yes. I agree. And I try, and at least with my podcast so far, I try and give information that anyone can access, so you have to have money, because it kind of looks like the whole thing is a rich man's game.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but it doesn't have to.
Same thing with my program, right? If you can't afford the one-on-one in Light Force, I have my own app, but you can go in there, you can be part of the community, and you can speak to thousands of people from random places all over the world. You could do the meditations, you could do what you can until you can get to a certain place. And then it has to be accessible. It always starts with you saying yes to yourself, and then everything else kind of manifests into place,
true.
right?
It's like telling someone to diet. You can't.
You know,
it has to come from yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Always.
And a lot of people, I think, get completely addicted to whatever, therapists or trainers or whatever, and and that does not always, you know, you in a way, it needs to come from within, and you need to
1,000,000%
escape that.
It has to come from within, and we also have to understand that we're living in a very pivotal time on Earth right now, when we really don't have enough time left to mess around anymore. And so we need solutions. There's no solutions when you're at the same therapist for 9 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we need to get on with it and, like, you know, really heal, like move on with solutions. So I'm a solution girl, whatever it is, like, we can figure it out.
Healthy habits, change your way of life. You're into a morning routine, I'm into, and you have to find a way to try and incorporate these healthy habits or these affirmations,
balance, moderation, all of it. And we always we forget to have fun. Like, we need to be able to also, like, celebrate the beauty of, you know, art and music and love and laughter and children.
Find the joy.
Bring back that joy into your daily life. You know, we weren't meant to, like, work a 9 to 5, eat, sleep, entertainment, repeat. You know, that's what they want, but that's when you get stuck, right? And that's when you have no other way out. And then drink your weekend away to escape from the life that you were, subscribed to. So it's as you see it on paper, it's a very crazy system that is
we live so
everywhere.
much of our lives according to other people's expectations.
Exactly.
And then you wake up
now we're breaking the norm.
Wait a second, is this what I think my parents want me to do?
Yeah.
Or is this what I really want to do?
Yeah.
Or is this, so it's sort of like we want to redefine societal norms and standards
100%.
for women
100%.
and capabilities.
Absolutely.
And beauty and
amen.
And everything.
Yeah. we need to take over the world.
Yeah.
Basically, we're on that mission.
But it's all intertwined too, because if I used to do some charity work, like I was opening a women's center in Bosnia, teaching them menial skills, and there was someone in Africa, and if you give a microloan to a woman, she can change a village.
No, I know. I'm from Africa.
Yes,
wild.
as you know. So,
yeah.
I mean, and so women are now entering a time when they're going to have more wealth than even the men.
You show them a skill, they'll just go crazy with it, and you get the most beautiful craftsmanship in the whole world.
Age of Aquarius, age of the woman.
Yeah. All of it. Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important. I'm glad you said that, to also align your purpose with community and giving back to charity, because it's if we ask all the time for something, we always have to give something back in return, and that's how the universe works. And if more people can come into that mindset, if we had more people actually volunteering and doing things for other people,
then you can be more impactful.
Yeah, I always ask people, when's the last time you volunteered somewhere? When's the last time you did something for charity? When's the last time you did something for someone else community-wise that isn't, in your immediate circle or family? And the answers are scary, because we're so caught up in this self-loathing, habits and
world.
Yeah. And it's not what we're here for. We're here to help one another.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but sometimes you have to help if yourself. You've had it, you realize it's not all that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Some people don't get there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I think people do have soul journeys.
Yeah,
and learn lessons along the way.
Yeah,
and so
everything is a lesson. Every minute, every second, every day, every alignment, every meeting.
Yeah,
whether we like it or not, it's actually all part of the journey. But we have to look at it as a lesson. Yeah. And we can't stay stuck in our past, otherwise we won't see our future.
Yes, you have to learn from the failures and the successes.
100%.
So, all right. One more question.
I could stay here with you all day.
I love you. Okay. Tell me about your center.
Light Force Center? Okay, amazing. So I used to get these, and you'll love this because we have Ibiza in common. So I used to get these recurring dreams after my awakening in LA that I was going to build a center of light somewhere. And so I set off on the journey. And
I'm coming, by the way.
Yeah, obviously. We're going to do one in Ibiza together, too.
I want to bring the kids, too.
100%. You have to. And so, I first moved to Ibiza to find out that, I was then stuck in Bali. And then I thought I was going to be in Bali. And then, all these places. And I had this full alchemist moment, an aha moment. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to be back home in Africa. Like, this needs to be in Kenya, like where I'm from, where my ancestors are from, right? So we're currently doing that. We're currently building the actual physical center in Kenya. But the Light Force Center is actually the center within your heart where you find the light and the force of everything that you are and who you truly are can come out and to be into fruition, from your heart, your soul, and your spirit. And the Light Force Center also is an app online where you can come and you can meet, like I said earlier, I have different like-minded souls who are doing different things. I host so many different things on the platform, like yoga, and there's different things that people can do. But
this is healing on all levels.
Healing on all levels,
physical, spiritual.
It's basically our modality, and we have the morning ritual, we have the Light Force Blessings meditation, self-love meditation. But if you can literally do the Light Force Blessings meditation every day for 21 days, it'll change the entire structure of your brain, right? Because it takes 21 days to really break a bad habit. Mm-hmm. But if you dedicate yourself even to that, just to that practice without even going into the self-healing yet, then you're really committed. Like, then you're in, and then you can say, okay, I'm ready to do the self-healing, which is emotional mapping. So you chart every trauma that you've ever gone through in your life, every character, mom, dad, ex-boyfriend, bully on the playground, time dad hit me, whatever, emotional abuse, physical abuse, all of it.
Yeah.
Sexual abuse, sadly. And And we remove it. We show you how to remove it from your system. So when you look at the scar, it doesn't hurt it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. We're all going around.
That's where forgiveness comes in.
And that's the most important. You know, when you can forgive in the midst of your pain, not because they deserve it, but because you do, your whole life will change.
I found for me, it was pivotal. The only way I could move on, I think, from my first failed marriage, because it affected me for so many years, was to forgive.
Yeah.
Forgive and move on and
100%.
close that chapter.
You have to.
Remember the good bits and
Yeah.
You should forgive yourself too.
Yeah, because if you hold on to anything, even an ounce of number one of resentment,
yes,
it'll turn into something else and you'll carry it into another relationship.
What causes cancer. And
yes, ma'am.
That bitterness.
All of this bitterness, suppression, anger, all of it. You know, that's what dis-ease is. It's the emotional dis-ease within your cells.
Yeah.
You know? So it's such a beautiful process. Anybody can come from wherever you are in your life. And then on the other side of your healing, when you're done, you can focus properly on your mission and your vision and your purpose. And we have a purpose program too. So people know what to do on the other side of their pain. You know, because most people are so used to their pain body and they're like, well, wait, what do I do now?
This is
like, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to change my
so long, right?
I'm
the victim.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you don't realize the power you have.
Exactly. And that's the force that comes after.
Interesting. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So you have sort of the second step.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not just
really
the rehab,
beautiful.
it's the
Yeah, exactly. Here you go. Here's your job now. Go do something with it. Get a diploma here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's after rehab then people get in the most trouble.
Yeah. Because they don't know what else to do, so they go back, right?
And their limits have changed, and then you go back into that old.
Integration is super key in everything, you know? So when you have a direct roadmap and a plan, and we show you how to get there and how long it's going to take and what you're going to do, you can do this in 7 weeks.
And what you need to be independent and self-sufficient.
100%. All of it.
In the
all
outside world.
Yeah.
Which some people find scary.
Yeah, definitely. You know?
Yeah. I think it's all fascinating.
You're fascinating. I love you.
You too. You too. That was so much fun. I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, it was great. It was perfect.
I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And Ibiza.
We should do one in Ibiza.
So watch out.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Ibiza, Africa.
Yeah.
Here we come.
Here we come. Love you.
The beautiful woman. Here she is. And thank you so much.
Of course.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I hope you all have a wonderful day.